The Stranger Things finale just delivered one of the most Easter egg-packed episodes in the entire series. And because the Duffer Brothers have been planting seeds for these payoffs since Season 1, every single detail serves a purpose that rewards the most dedicated fans while providing perfect closure to character arcs that have been building for years. This means that what seemed like simple emotional moments were actually carefully crafted callbacks that connect the show's deepest themes and longest-running storylines. But what most viewers missed during their first watch is how these hidden details create a web of connections that transforms our understanding of the entire series. Here are the hidden Easter eggs you missed in the Stranger Things finale. The most emotionally satisfying Easter egg appears during Dustin's graduation speech, and considering it fulfills a promise that Eddie Munson made in what seemed like throwaway dialogue from Season 4, this moment transforms Eddie's death from tragic loss into prophetic inspiration. Back in the cafeteria scene, Eddie made a specific declaration about graduation. "I'm going to walk that stage next month. I'm going to look Principal Higgins dead in the eye. I'm going to flip him the bird. I'm going to snatch that diploma, and I'm going to run like hell." Dustin executes every single element of Eddie's plan with perfect precision. And given that Iron Maiden's The Trooper plays in the background during this sequence, the musical choice creates a direct connection to Eddie's metalhead identity while honoring his rebellious spirit. What makes this Easter egg so brilliant is how it demonstrates that Eddie's impact on Dustin went far beyond their friendship. It fundamentally changed how Dustin sees himself and his place in the world. Since Eddie taught Dustin to embrace being different rather than conforming to expectations, Dustin's graduation speech becomes a celebration of individuality that honors his fallen friend while establishing his own identity. The visual storytelling in the finale's closing scene contains multiple layers of hidden meaning. And because Will's drawing from Season 4 appears prominently displayed on Mike's wall, this seemingly simple decoration actually represents the resolution of one of the series' most important relationships. The drawing, which showed Will's artistic interpretation of their D&D campaign and his feelings for Mike, now hangs in the most prominent spot in Mike's room, suggesting that Mike has not only accepted Will's feelings, but treasures the artistic expression of their friendship. The scene deliberately mirrors Bilbo Baggins finishing his story in The Lord of the Rings, and considering the Duffer Brothers have always drawn inspiration from Tolkien's work, this parallel suggests that Mike is documenting their adventures in the same way that Bilbo recorded his journey. The connection becomes even more meaningful when you consider that both stories involve ordinary people who discover extraordinary courage when faced with impossible odds. But the Easter egg goes deeper than simple literary reference, because the scene also connects to Stephen King's approach to storytelling, which has been a major inspiration for the Duffer Brothers throughout the series. King famously creates his stories based on real experiences and personal observations, and Mike's decision to write about their supernatural adventures mirrors this approach. The herbicide canisters that appear during Vecna's infiltration of Hopper's mind represent one of the most emotionally devastating Easter eggs in the entire episode. And since these containers are labeled as Agent Orange from 1966, they connect directly to Hopper's service in Vietnam and his deepest source of guilt and trauma. Agent Orange was a chemical defoliant used extensively during the Vietnam War, and prolonged exposure was later linked to serious health problems in veterans and birth defects in their children. Hopper has always blamed himself for Sarah's death, believing that his exposure to Agent Orange during his military service caused the cancer that killed his daughter. Seeing that this guilt has driven many of Hopper's decisions throughout the series, including his overprotective relationship with Eleven, the appearance of these canisters in Vecna's mental attack reveals how deeply this trauma has shaped his entire worldview. What makes this Easter egg particularly powerful is how it should have been the first clue that everything happening was an illusion created by Vecna rather than reality. The return of Stacey Albright creates one of the most satisfying character development Easter eggs in the finale, and since she's the same girl who rejected Dustin at the snowball dance in Season 2, her approach to him after graduation represents the fulfillment of Nancy's prophetic advice about how girls would eventually appreciate Dustin's qualities. Nancy's exact words were, "Girls your age are dumb. Give them a few years and they'll wise up and you'll drive them crazy." The timing of Stacy's interest proves Nancy's prediction completely accurate, and because several years have passed since the snowball rejection, Stacy has indeed wised up and recognized Dustin's worth. What makes this moment even more meaningful is how it demonstrates that Dustin didn't need to change himself to win romantic attention. He just needed to wait for others to mature enough to appreciate his authentic personality. The musical choices in the finale contain some of the most significant Easter eggs for music fans, and knowing the Duffer Brothers secured the rights to use Prince songs that had never been licensed for television or movies since Prince's 1984 film Purple Rain, these musical moments carry enormous cultural and thematic weight. When Doves Cry and Purple Rain hadn't appeared in any TV series since Prince included them in his own movie, making their use in Stranger Things a major coup for the show's soundtrack. The decision to play side 2 of the Purple Rain album during the explosive sequence that destroys the Upside Down creates perfect thematic resonance. And since the album begins with When Doves Cry and ends with the track Purple Rain, the musical progression mirrors the emotional journey from chaos to resolution. What makes these musical Easter eggs particularly meaningful is how they connect to the show's broader themes about the power of music to heal trauma and create connection. The Heroes by David Bowie Easter egg represents one of the most clever examples of the Duffer Brothers using musical foreshadowing, since this exact song played during both Will's fake death in Season 1 and Hopper's apparent death in Season 3. Its use during Eleven's sacrifice scene strongly suggests that her death might not be permanent. The pattern is too specific to be coincidental. Heroes has become the Duffer Brothers' signature song for fake-out deaths that later get reversed. This musical Easter egg works on multiple levels because it provides hope for fans who don't want to lose 11 while also rewarding viewers who pay attention to the show's musical patterns. The song choice creates a subtle hint that 11's sacrifice might not be the end of her story, suggesting that the Duffer Brothers are using established musical language to communicate with their most dedicated fans. If you're fascinated by how the Duffer Brothers weave these intricate details throughout their storytelling and want to catch every hidden reference and callback, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're diving deep into the connections that make Stranger Things such a rewarding series for dedicated fans, and you won't want to miss what we discover next. The location choices for the finale contain hidden meanings that most viewers completely missed. And since the final scene with 11 was shot at Hyafoss, the third largest waterfall in Iceland, this location carries symbolic significance that connects to themes of renewal and natural power. Because the number 5 has significance throughout the series, 5 seasons, 5 main kids in the original group, 5 gates opened by Vecna, the presence of 5 waterfalls in the background might represent completion and wholeness. The fact that most viewers would only notice the prominent waterfalls while missing the others mirrors how the show rewards careful observation with deeper meaning. And since Hopper mentions wanting to start a new life with Joyce in Montauk, this seemingly throwaway location reference actually connects to both the show's original title and real-world government programs that inspired the series. Before Stranger Things became the official title, the Duffer Brothers pitched the series as Montauk, and the town was originally going to be set in Montauk, Long Island, rather than the fictional Hawkins, Indiana. The name also references the real Montauk Project, a conspiracy theory about secret government experiments that directly inspired the show's portrayal of Hawkins' lab. This Easter egg becomes even more meaningful when Robin mentions having an uncle in Philadelphia, and because Philadelphia alludes to the Philadelphia experiment, another real conspiracy theory about government attempts to make ships invisible that allegedly resulted in teleportation to other dimensions. The geographical references create a web of connections to the real-world inspirations behind the show's supernatural elements. The numerical Easter eggs hidden throughout the finale reward the most detail-oriented fans, and since Henry's Boy Scout uniform displays the number 1106, this detail connects directly to November 6th, the date when Will disappeared and the entire series began. The fact that this number appears on Henry's childhood uniform suggests that the date has cosmic significance beyond just being when Will got taken, implying that November 6th represents a recurring moment of supernatural importance in the show's mythology. The visual Easter eggs in Mike's final scene contain multiple layers of meaning. A framed picture of 11 sits prominently on his desk while he writes. This detail confirms that their relationship remains central to his identity even after her apparent sacrifice. The placement of the photograph suggests that Mike is writing about their adventures partly as a way to keep 11's memory alive, transforming his grief into creative expression. Karen Wheeler's wardrobe choice at the graduation ceremony represents one of the most powerful visual Easter eggs in the entire finale, and since she deliberately wears a low V-neck top that displays her Demogorgon scar rather than hiding it with a high-necked garment or scarf, her outfit becomes a statement about survival, pride, and refusing to be ashamed of trauma. The jewelry she chooses specifically draws attention to the scar area, making it clear that this is an intentional decision rather than an oversight. This visual choice transforms Karen's scar from a mark of victimization into a badge of honor. Since she survived a Demogorgon attack while protecting her daughter, the scar represents her courage and maternal strength. The subtle character behavior Easter eggs reward viewers who pay attention to background details. And given that Andy is the only person who doesn't applaud during Dustin's graduation speech, his reaction creates a perfect character moment that reflects his personality without requiring dialogue or explanation. Andy's facial expression during the speech suggests confusion or disapproval, which makes perfect sense for a character who represents the conformist mindset that Eddie and Dustin have always opposed. The pop culture reference Easter eggs create connections that work on multiple levels for different types of fans. And since the finale includes subtle nods to everything from The Lord of the Rings to Mortal Kombat, these references reward viewers who share the Duffer Brothers' love of genre storytelling. Henry's interaction with The Rock, giving off "My Precious" vibes from Gollum, creates a perfect parallel between his obsession with power and Gollum's corruption by the One Ring. The Russian spy's warning to Henry about needing to resist the Mind Flayer's influence or be consumed by it mirrors the constant warnings about the ring's corrupting power in Tolkien's work. And because both stories deal with how power corrupts even those who gain it with good intentions, the parallel feels thematically appropriate rather than just superficial reference making. As the series concludes, these Easter eggs demonstrate that Stranger Things has always been about more than just supernatural horror. It's been a celebration of storytelling itself, showing how the stories we tell and the details we include can create connections that transcend individual episodes or seasons. If you want to discover more hidden details and connections that make Stranger Things such a rewarding series for dedicated fans, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, and let me know in the comments which Easter egg surprised you the most. The deeper you look into this finale, the more treasures you'll find waiting to be discovered.